You are welcome to Playing with Mathematics with Mr. Olariwaju, a teacher of mathematics of 50 years plus. We are playing with numbers. It's a way of letting you understand how you can easily solve mathematics problem with ease. Let's take a look at set of squares. Patterns are formed. Observe this pattern and you will find it very interesting. The square of 1 is the same as the square of 0 plus 0 plus 1, which is equal to 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. How did you arrive at this? The number preceding 1 is 0, and we square it. Then we add it to the sum of 0 and 1 itself, which is equal to 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. Let's take a look at the next number that will make it a bit clearer. The square of 2 is the same as the number before 2, which is 1, plus the sum of 1 and 2 itself. And that is 1 plus 3, which is equal to 4. The square of 3, what number is before 3? 2, which is the square of 2 plus the sum of 2 and 3. And that is 4 plus 5. And that equals 9. Let's look at the next number, which is 4 squared. What is the number before square? Before 4, and that is 3. The whole number before 4 is 3, so we square 3 plus the sum of 3 and 4. That gives 9 plus 7, which is equal to 16. Take a look at 5. What number precedes 5? That's 4. So we have 4 squared plus the sum of 4 and 5, and that gives 16 plus 9, which is equal to 25. This is a pattern. And if you look at this column, this is square of 0, 0, square of 1, square of 2, square of 3, square of 4. And if you look at this pattern, we have 1. The next odd number after 1 is 3. The next odd number after 3 is 5. The next odd number after 5 is 7. And the next odd number after 7 is 9. So structurally, everything is programmed by nature. Now, we can also play with this square of numbers by rearranging them in one way or the other. Let's see what we take note here. Look at the square of 3. This time around, it is the square of 1. If you look at 1 and 3, there is a number in between them, and that is 2. That number multiplied by 4 will give us 1 plus 8, which is equal to 9. Now, let's take a look at 4 squared. We have 2 squared. We have omitted a number between 2 and 4, and that number is 3. So that number must be multiplied by 4 to give us 4 plus 12, and that is 16. That is, 4 squared is equal to 2 squared plus 4 times the number in between 2 and 4, and that is 3. And we now have 4 plus 12. That makes 16. Let's consider 5. If you look at 5 squared and 3 squared, there's a number in between. What is the number? 4. That number in between multiplied by 4. So we now have 5 squared is equal to 3 squared plus 4 times 4, which is equal to 9 plus 16, and that's 25. Can we take a look at 6? If you take a look at 6, between 6 and 4, there is a number, and that is 5. So that number in between them must be multiplied by 4. So we now have 6 squared is equal to 4 squared plus 4 times 5, and that gives 16 plus 20, which is equal to 36. But we can still play with this square of numbers. We can write 6 squared in terms of 3 squared, in terms of 2 squared, in terms of 1 squared. Let's go. Now, we are writing 3 in terms 6 squared in terms of 3 squared. What are the numbers that are in between 3 and 6? These are 4 and 5. So we now have 3 squared plus 3 into 4 and 5. That is 3 squared plus 3 times the sum of 4 and 5. The sum of 4 and 5 is 9 times 3 gives 27. So we then have 3 plus 27 is equal to 36. Let's take a look at 6 squared and 2 squared. The difference between them is what? 4. So we have 4 here. Then we then have 3 and 5. These are the other 2 numbers in between 2 and 6. So we now have 6 squared is equal to 2 squared plus 4 times the sum of 3 and 5. That gives 4 plus 32, which is equal to 36. How about 6 squared and 1 squared? The difference between them is what? 5. What are the other numbers between 6 and 1? It is 3 and 4. So we now have 6 squared is equal to 1 squared plus 5 into 3 plus 4. And that gives 1 plus 35, giving us 36. Structurally, we have seen that we can rewrite this square of numbers in various forms. Let's take a close look at what we have for 7 squared. 7 squared, we have 6 squared, which is the previous number. Following the pattern we have over there, 6 squared plus the sum of 6 and 7. That gives 36 plus 13, giving us 49. In terms of 5, 7 squared is the same as 5 squared. There is a number in between 7 and 5, and that number is what? 6. Just as we did in the previous one here, we now multiply 6 by 4. 5 squared is 25. 4 times 6 is 24, making 49. Now let's come to 7 squared and 4 squared. The difference between them is what? 3. We put 3 here. Then between 7 and 4, we have 5 and 6. So we now have 7 squared is the same thing as 4 squared plus the product of 5 plus 6. 5 plus 6 is 11 times 3, it gives us 33. So we now have 16 plus 33 is equal to 49. Now let's come to 7 and 3. 7 squared is equal to 3 squared plus 4 into 4 plus 6. How do we get this? This is an odd number. This is also an odd number. We have 4. 4 plus 6 comes in between them. 5 is omitted. Why? Because 5 is also an odd number. It cannot come in at the same time with this. So we have 4 plus 6. So we have 3 squared to give us 9. Then 4 into 4 plus 6. And that gives us 4 into 10. That is 40. We have 49. Let's consider 7 and 2. In the case of 7 squared and 2 squared, we now have this as even number. Then we have 3 into 4. All other numbers in between them are what? 3, 4, 5, 6. So we now have 3 into 4 plus 5 plus 6. 4 plus 5 plus 6 gives 15. 15 multiplied by 3 gives 45. 45 plus 4 gives 49. Now, let's come to 7 and 1. 7 is an odd number. 1 is an odd number. So we now come into 4. Then we have 3 plus 4 plus 5. 6 is omitted here. Why? Because the difference between 7 and 1 is 6. 6 is omitted there. But because this is odd number, is different from 2, we can now have 3 plus 4 plus 5. And that is giving us 12 times 4, 48 plus 1, 49. A similar thing can be done with the square root of 5. You can write 5 in terms of 5 squared in terms of 4 squared plus other numbers. I want you to try it and see what happens. 5 can also be written in another form. That is why it is written here. Observe that these numbers can be written in another form because they are all patterns. Observe that if we want to write 5 in terms of numbers greater than 5, this is the pattern. We have written 7 squared in terms of numbers less than 7. We wrote 6 in terms of numbers less than 6. Now, look at 5 in terms of number greater than 5. So this time around, subtraction will have to come in. 5 squared will now give us 6 squared minus 5 plus 6. The number 5 and 6, the next number. and that gives us 36 minus 11, which gives 25. Excuse me. Now 5 squared and 7 squared. The number in between them, there's a number in between them, and that is 4, and that is 6. Whenever there is a number in between them, you multiply by 4. So we have 7 squared minus 4 times 6, and that gives us 49 minus 24, and the result is 25. Now let us look at 5 squared and 8 squared. There's a difference between, the difference between 5 and 8 is 3. And that is why we now have 5 squared is the same as 8 squared minus 3 into 6 plus 7. Between 5 and 8, we have 6 and 7. So we have 8 squared minus 3 into 6 plus 7. And that is 64 minus 39. Let's look at 5 squared and 9 squared. Difference between them is what? 4. So we have 9 squared minus 6 plus 8. There's an odd number in between which we take out because the two of them are odd numbers. So we now have 9 squared minus 4 into 6 plus 8. That's 81 minus 56, and the result is 25. Let's consider 5 squared and 10 squared. Difference between them is what? 5. You have 5 here. 7 plus 8. In between. 9 is not there because 9 cannot be included here since this is already a prime an odd number. So we have 10 squared, which is 100. 7 plus 8 is 15 times 5 is 75. 100 minus 75 also gives 25. Thank you for watching. Please, we want you to like, subscribe, and share. Take a look at it. If you have any comments, take it to the comment section and it will be addressed. Thank you. In the next video, we will go further to address all comments.